Thanks for checking out the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to see me play your deck, hang out with me in the amazing BoshNRoll community in Discord, access to my lists and sideboard guides before tournaments, book an individual coaching session, or just generally want to support what's going on here, check out the Patreon and YouTube membership options. For the finest Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, use code BoshNRoll for 10% off your order at coalesceapparel.shop. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. If you want to play what I'm playing, use my affiliate link to support the channel while you shop for cards at tcgplayer.com and play any deck anytime on Magic Online with a cardhoarder.com loan account. Thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back once again for another BoshNRoll Legacy video. Today I have, from Patreon subscriber Ewan, a deck that I've been wanting to play on the channel for a long time, but wasn't possible because two of the most important cards in the deck did not exist on Magic Online, but we're in there now. This is Rug Broken Cards by Maxtortion of the Min-Max blog. Max has a long history of just jamming all the good cards into a deck and having success with it. He was the pioneer of, if you have been around for a while, NBC Delver, No Bad Cards Delver, back when Delver players were on like Stifle and like all these situationally weird cards, and Max was just like, how about Ren and 6? How about Oko? How about cards that are never bad ever, and we're only going to do that, and nothing's ever going to be stuck in my hand because all my cards are always insane. So Max has this pedigree of deck building, and he's been working on this deck for a while. I think at this point he's moved on to like Phyrexian Dreadnought builds of Minsc and Boo decks, which are pretty awesome if you check out his Twitter at Maxtortion. But this one has been in the canon for a while. Ewan messaged me and was like, hey, are there any decks you want to play? And I was like, yeah, this Rug deck. Let's make it happen. So he sponsored this video. What's going on here is, like I said, it's just all good cards. 4 Dragons Rage Channeler, card selection, attacks for 3, good stuff all around. A Lightning Bolt, just go upstairs, a most efficient removal, efficient finisher, Ledger Shredder, more card selection, more ways to get cards in your graveyard. Ledger Shredder and Dragon's Rage Channeler are both creatures that get bigger when you cast spells and put things in your graveyard, which fuels both F.I.R.E. and Murktide Regent, both of whom enjoy a good full graveyard. There are some metagame attacks here of main deck Carpet of Flowers, main deck Pyroblast. These may or may not come up in our leagues. This has a pretty square target on Delver's head, but these are powerful cards that come up a lot. Any Delver deck or control deck, you're going to want them, and the Pyroblast are even good against most combo decks. So hard to argue with main deck Pyroblast. We'll see if Carpet comes up in this league. For Expressive Iteration, if something should be banned in Legacy, I'm of the opinion that it's this card, and of course it's here as a 4 of, fueling all of our other BS. Brazen Borrower, it answers, it attacks, it's never going to be bad. 4 Force of Will and 2 Force of Negation, plus the other 2 Force of Negation in the sideboard. This is deck building that's just betting that my cards are better than yours, and I don't need card advantage necessarily. I mean, like you have it in Uro and Expressive Iteration, but I'm willing to spend 2 cards to answer one of yours often and early because my cards are better, and my cards are worth 2 of yours. And that's how this deck is constructed. And I think he's right. And then we get to the exciting card that has not been seen on this channel before because it was just recently added to Magic Online. Maddening Hex. 1 red, enchantment aura, enchant player. When enchanted player casts a non-creature spell, roll a d6. That's a 6-sided die for those of you who are not gamers, or not tabletop gamers. Maddening Hex deals damage to that player equal to the result. Then attach Maddening Hex to another one of your opponents chosen at random. So that last line doesn't matter in 1v1. This is designed for EDH, of course. But roll a d6, take damage equal to the result. When the first time I read this card, I was like, I don't know. Are we rolling dice in 60-card Magic now? Is that what we're doing? I don't think so. I don't like variance in my game. But then you realized that the average roll is 3, which is better than Eidolon of the Great Rebel, which is a card that I've lost to a lot. And you could also just like high roll and they take 6 and then they're done casting spells. Like this card is insane. And if it resolves and your opponent tries to answer it, they take a roll worth of damage from their answer. Like they cast Prismatic Ending. Okay, take your 3 on average. and then I can start fighting over it. Like, okay, force your prismatic ending. Now, if you force my force, you take another roll worth of damage. And we just had this crazy exchange where you ended up taking 6 damage on average. And you might even lose the counter spore at the end of that. And Maddening Hex is still in play. And those are all the spells you get to play this game. It's really messed up. I've played against this card a few times in paper, and I don't believe I've beaten a resolved one yet. It's tough. Shoving 2 of these in the main deck is just a hard punish. It dodges Pyroblast. You can play around days with it, and you can back it up with all your counter spells. And once this thing resolves on a board, any sort of like medium stable board, it's going to take over the game because your opponent can't cantrip anymore without taking their 3-ish damage. They can't interact with your creatures. They can't interact with the hex itself. It's a bad scene once this thing's in play. I'm excited to try it. In the sideboard, we've got 2 copies of Minsc, Timeless Heroes, the other thing that we've been waiting for in Magic Online. I played a Minsc Control League on the channel a couple days ago. Go check that out if you missed it. But it was a little bigger than this deck. Like, instead of Maddening Hex, it had Narset, and instead of Ledger Shredder, it had Endurance. Just playing a slightly different game plan, but it was a Rug Minsc control deck. I like the discipline of having Minsc in the sideboard here, because this deck is kind of built with Delver in the crosshairs, and Minsc, when it comes into play, creates a hamster token, which is a trigger, which creates a round of priority in which Minsc can be lightning bolted because it starts at 3 loyalty. And it's really rough to lose your 4 mana giant payoff spell to a 1 mana lightning bolt. So I like the discipline of keeping it in the sideboard, only bring it in for decks that don't have lightning bolt, and you'll beat up on control decks like crazy with this thing without it being a main deck liability against decks that can answer it easily. The rest of the sideboard, we got the other 2 Force of Negations. We got Dress Down for Saga-related business. Pyroclasm to sweep stuff up. 2 more Carpets, because we're just not going to lose the Delver. Not interested. 2 Tormod Scripts for the graveyard decks. Max made a little bit of a thread a while ago about why he's playing Tormod Script over Surgical Extraction, and he joked that it was because he is putting himself in surgical jail because he was surgicaling the wrong things and he just wanted Tormod Script so he could stop making mistakes. But it's also something you can just put into play where discard can't get it, because a lot of the Reanimator decks or decks that care about the graveyard, like Oops All Spells, are going to check you with discard and then go for their thing. And Tormod Script just sits in play. Crypt also triggers Dragon's Rage Channeler and Ledger Shredder when you play it as a 0 mana spell. So there's a lot of ways to get velocity and extra value off of this thing, while also playing around commonly played counter hate. And then a Null Rod for the Storm decks. And I would bring it in against 8 cast too, but primarily for Storm when I see Null Rod. A really cool thing in this deck is it has 2 Mystic Sanctuaries, which is like a crazy number of that card to have in a Legacy deck, but you just have more expressive iterations than your opponent at all times, every time. And that's a totally reasonable way to approach the game. I've seen versions of this kicking around with like 2 Wasteland 2 days in them. I'm not sure what era of list I'm playing right now. I don't know if this is the older one or if those are the older ones, but there's a lot of variation in this. Like 2 Wasteland 2 days. You see so many cards in this that like you'll find a Wasteland if you need to pick off a Saga or a Merit Lage or whatever. And days, if it's you make people play around it in the early game, and then in the late game it picks up Mystic Sanctuary and turns into expressive iteration. Like a lot of cool innovations, a lot of space to breathe in this shell that otherwise is just full of insano cards. But this is the version I'm playing today. This is Ewan's Rug Busted Cards, inspired by Maxtortion of MinMax blog. Let's go try it out. I'm on the play in round 1, and this is an 18 land deck, and we should expect some amount of 1-landers. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with this one though. I mean, Brainstorm does what it needs to, but Ledger Shredder, a little awkward. There's no DRC, no Ponder. I'll try it for science though. I wish one of these other cards was a land, just at random. Any other card in this hand being a land. A land. I'm good with it. I'll play my land and pass the turn. Opponent's on a Multi-6. They have an Eilish Norn. Oh no. I was about to say they have an Eilish Norn avatar here. Maybe that tells me about their personality. And it seems like it does. Summoner's Pacto. Okay. That's probably getting Spirit Guide for the extra mana. Undercity Informer. Pitched Elvish and Simian Spirit Guides here. If this resolves, I can bolt it. Unless they have another Spirit Guide. Alright, I'm gonna gamble on the bolt in hand versus the force on top of my deck. Summoner's Pact. Alright, I'll respond to that. I gotta assume they have a pact over there of negation, because this is an insane line to take if you have nothing. Wow, okay. The rarely seen lightning bolt defeating oops all spells. I'll take that. Let's go. Okay, Dress Down is good. Force Negation's good. Tormod's Crypt is good. This is exactly one of those matchups that likes to check you with discard before going off, where Surgical can be a liability. You know, obviously Surgical interacts on turn 0, which is when this deck wants to function. So there's a little give and take to Tormod's Crypt, but if you get a turn and put the thing into play, you're in good shape. Their deck has a lot of artifacts in it, but my Tormod's Crypt is also an artifact, so there's a little tension there, but I can just decide if I want to cast Null Red or not if I happen to have a Crypt. I think I just want more interaction. It's not about like whether it all works perfectly or not. I just need as much of it as possible. Okay, Carpet, their deck has no islands. Pyroblast does hit Pactum Negation if I need to push back on them. Lightning Bolt is normally not going to find a target, though it did just win me the game. I think Dragon's Rage Channeler, actually, because Uro's blue, Ledger Shredder's blue, and attacks. Winning this matchup is like tertiary to not dying. Like if I could build a deck to not die or build a deck to win, I would choose not die in this matchup, which is the opposite of how I normally play Magic. But this, I think Dragon's Rage Channeler we can live without, and sometimes they have Xantid Swarm, so I want to leave in some Lightning Bolts, and I'll cut one of them because that is the worst card left in the deck here. Alrighty, let's try it out. And I'm glad that game 1 was on camera. Beating Oops All Spells turn 1 combo with a Lightning Bolt is just chef's kiss. A 0 lander with a Force and a Tormod's Crypt. I'm going to keep. Oops All Spells can usually beat 1 piece of interaction. 2 is usually the right number you want, and they can never beat 3. All right, come on, land. Don't punish me here. Uh-oh. All right, well, Tormod's Crypt's in play, and I'm passing the turn. Not having a land here is awkward AF, but Tormod's Crypt gets around Xantid Swarm, gets around discard. They have to beat the Force in my hand and the Crypt in play. Wow, nice handful of discard you got over there. 2 turn 2 wins in 2 games against Oops All Spells. Count it, this deck is busted. On to the next round. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and every other format you'll see on this channel. They have multiple customizations so you can view your deck how you want. Text view, stacks, grid, custom grouping by type, subtype, color, light mode, dark mode. However you want to see your deck, they can provide it for you. My favorite feature is you can choose your set printing, make the deck look exactly how you want it to. The deck screen features expandable sections that show you what tokens your deck makes, your recent change history to the deck, stats about mana curve and opening hand distribution, mana cost distribution. You can deal out sample hands and even play test the deck. Island Ponder. You know I'm keeping this one. This site has everything. Follow me on Moxfield.com to keep up with decks I'm playing for the channel and what I'm up to in paper. I'll see you there. On the draw for round 2, I'm going to keep this hand loaded up with Force of Wills. I got DRC and at least 2 Surveil triggers ready to go. 2 lands. I'm in. Basic Island go. Okay. Another land. Please don't stifle me. Volcanic Island and Channeler. I love that the deck has 0 basics, so I don't even have to think about whether I want to play around Wasteland or back to basics or whatever. Like, nah. Just going to cast my spells with perfect mana. Ooh, I was not expecting Chromox from basic land go. I'm now pretty stoked I have 2 forces in my hand. Oh, JK. It's Merfolk. All right, now I'm devastated that I have 2 forces in my hand. Jesus. Okay. Yeah, that's a thing you can do. All right, need some spells here. That ain't it. All right, we're in trouble. Waiting on the cavern was really smart because I didn't know to force the Chrome Mox in that case. Okay, this one I can force. It did tap cavern to cast it, but I don't care. Another land in the graveyard. All right, I only play 18 of these. I've seen enough of them. Get them out. Uro can raise True Name Nemesis, so that's kind of what I'm looking for here. Lightning Bolt. That's not what I want. I'm gonna play... Actually, I can Lightning Bolt. I could just bolt them, play Murktide, and bet. Okay, I'm just going upstairs with Lightning Bolt. Gonna get a Surveil. Pyroblast into the graveyard. I'm just trying to make Murktide big. Back for one. Then fetch for another Volcanic Island. And big Murk Energy coming in. If the last two cards are force blue card, but they're not. All right, let's see if you can beat a Murktide Regent. Oh, Thought Lash. It's a Thoracle Merfolk combo deck. This is fun. Yeah, the new Merfolk Lord. It's not this one. There's a legend in the set, in the new Dominaria set, that lets you cast Merfolk spells from the top of your deck. So you can shred through with Thought Lash, and they can just prevent damage with Thought Lash in the meantime. Yeah, you can exile cards from the top of your deck until Oracle is the top card, and then you can cast Oracle with the Merfolk, and then exile the rest of your deck in response to the trigger. Thought Lash, pretty sick. Also just like doing a great job as like the printed text of this card, which is exchanging your deck to win a damage race. There's the one. That's what I was talking about. When you look at the top card of your library anytime you cast Merfolk spells, whenever you cast a Merfolk spell, you may pay 1, make a 1/1. So I am dead next turn. Okay, brainstorm time. Can I find an answer? I can. Right, top of the deck. Put back 2 things that are bad. Like bolt this jerk. I can mill the land, or I could shuffle away the land to get some velocity. 6, 7. I wonder if there's a way to... Can I sequence this Lord? That's Merfolk spells from the top of your library. No, like he creates a round of priority. When you cast the Thoracle, there's a trigger. You can choose to pay 1 or not, but that doesn't change anything, actually. Okay. I'm going to fetch, get my shuffle. I'm going to grab another Volcanic Island, and I'm going to bolt this Emperor Mikhail. It's a 3/3. Ponder. I will put that in the graveyard. I'm just really looking for Uro, because like I'm not winning the damage race versus Thought Lash anyway. There comes a bunch of cards, Oracle, Silver Real Adept, etc. Yeah, Uro is my way to tempo through this if there is one. Maybe I should have kept Ponder. That's just a lot of looks. Yeah, that was probably bad. Maybe don't play Oracle. You have another Emperor? Oh, come on. All right, fine. Okay, Lightning Bolt. Another Channeler. I guess Emperor does, like, just kill me here. I'll attack for 6. Maybe I can get all the Oracles out. Wasteland's in this deck, good to know. Okay, I am dead to the combo here. Yeah, this was a really cool showcase of this deck. Just aggro Merfolk. I'm dying to damage, but like the combo is also killing me this turn. Good stuff. I would like to see more of your deck in the meantime. We got Chalice, Wasteland, Medallion Hexcatcher, sacrifice a Merfolk, counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 1. Buff. Yeah, a lot of cool new tools from Dominaria United. Okay. Yep, that'll do. Got me. Got me with damage. While also having the combo face up. Cool deck. Okay, this sort of thing should be pretty positive, I imagine, if I can keep Chalice of the Void off the table. Like, a lot of Pyroblasts in my deck. Carpet of Flowers, actually, making tons of mana. But Carpet is also a thing that is soft to Chalice. My answers to Chalice are Brazen Borrower and my Forces. Maddening Hex actually seems pretty bad in this matchup. Mishra's Bauble, I don't think I need that. Channeler's good. The card selection's good. Force of Will. I mean, I'd really like to board out the Force of Will against this Cabin of Souls deck, but they're also a combo deck. Or maybe Force of Negation is a bridge too far, and I'll just load up on these Pyroblasts. All right. Soft to Chalice, but otherwise, let's do this thing. I don't think I have room for Dress Downs, even though they are an Oracle combo deck. I think that's going overboard into the sideboarding. On the play, I can answer Chalice. I'm actually going to keep this. Chalice was my biggest concern coming into the matchup. Brazen Borrower. All right. I don't want all these lands, though. But I do want Brazen Borrower. These are like the types of cards that can interact with either plan. I know there is a land on top. There's also a Murktide and an Uro on top. I'll take that Uro. Yes, please. And do I want to hang out with this Murktide? Uro is probably going to be eating up my graveyard pretty good, so I am actually going to fetch and get the Ponder in while I can. Go to Tropical Island and Ponder. Channeler additional Ponders. I'll take the bonus Ponder here. That's a blue card to pitch, and I get to hold on to my Brazen Borrower, which I actually want more than the Ponder. This is Chalice. Do I care? I have Brazen Borrower that can bounce it, and I'm about to start casting... Oh, I have DRC in my hand. Yeah. All right. Or DRC's on top of the deck, so I'm going to Uro into DRC this turn. Yeah, I guess removing that makes sense. And fetch, get Tropical Island for Uro. And then the Uro land will get Volcanic Island for Channeler. Another Channeler. Volcanic Island and Channeler. But is Delirious. Please don't back to basics me. Backup Chalice, that's fine. Not really part of my plan right now. I'm going to attack for 3. And I can actually set up a Brazen Borrower in the end step, mess up whatever you do with Pyroblast, turn around an Uro you plan. I could also just cast Uro and make them figure that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to temporarily lose Delirium here. But I have Instants in hand. And now there's a Sorcery in my hand as well. Okay, Uro's in play. Am I just dead to Paradigm Shift right now? I hope not. Alright, they're just passing the turn. That's good stuff. I'm going to start with an iteration. Channeler triggers. Merfolk Trickster, sure. That locks down Uro for the turn. It's fine. He's already there. Doing the thing. Land into the graveyard. I have a bunch of those already. And then Uro in hand, Uro on bottom, exile Ledger Shredder. Play my land for turn, play Ledger Shredder. That did just pull me in kind of an awkward direction, where now I'm back open to reality or Paradigm Shift if they have the whole combo right now. Emperor Mihail, there he is. Tapping out for it in the face of Uro. Draw for turn. Oh, another iteration. Let's party. Blue-red iteration. Force of Will on top. I actually do want access to that this game. Force of Will in my hand. Expressive Iteration on the bottom. Exile Lightning Bolt. And then Brazen Borrower, Petty Theft, the Chalice. Which gets me a Surveil and a Connive. EI into the graveyard. Connive, discard Dragon's Rage Channeler. Bounce Chalice. And then Lightning Bolt, the Emperor. Now I have Force Blue card around. I'm way less scared of this. Mystic Sanctuary in the graveyard. Get rid of this creature. Now I'm delirious. And here comes the squad. Attack with all creatures. Double Force, double blue card, backing it all up. Oh, this is nice. Firing on all cylinders here. Okay, they got to get through double Force. And then I can untap and Pyroblast. If they replay the Chalice, I'm just going to ignore it. And attack for lethal. Blue Blast, you got it. I wonder how long that was locked under their own Chalice. And now if they replay any spell, I get to Connive, and that makes Ledger Shredder lethal. Flash. Okay. Sure, I can like kill that later if I care. Okay, I'm going to play Channeler and then Pyroblast their creature and get a lethal Connive. Surveil Pyroblast at the top. Ledger Shredder, discard Uro. Oh, why did I think this was lethal? I guess I didn't do the math that PRC already left play, so it's not lethal. It's just good. Okay. Get your creatures out of here. I have Pyroblast and Force available. Oh, I have Lightning Bolt. It is lethal. What a comedy of me being unable to count. Good shit. Lightning Bolt you. Okay. I probably shouldn't have bolted. I should have let them play out their turn and like make them present some answer or combo and then just back it up with bolt. But let's get this game over. Clearly I can't do math right now. Might as well just -3. I don't think anything changes about my plan. I guess the only argument is for dress down. Like maybe Pyroclasm's not even good, but they do have all the regular lords in the deck too. All right, I'm playing the same deck. Well, with all these other answers, do I need Pyroclasm? I mean, I'd be cutting it for dress down. Do I think dressing down my opponent is more important than Pyroclasming them? Probably not. All right, I'm going back in. This hand, I'm going to have to send the tap Mystic Sanctuary, no answer to Chalice. I'm going to ship it. Okay. This one has stuff to do at least. I'm in. I'm going to send Expressive Iteration to the bottom. I'll at least be able to fire off a Ponder before Chalice comes in. If Chalice comes in at all. Pondar. Force of Will. I will keep that card. Chalice is just so annoying. Like, if playing this game with Pyroblast on versus not on is just, they're two different games of Magic. I'm going to pitch the Murktide because we just saw Uro. I have a way to win the game if I can just stay alive. There's Uro. I'm not going to EI. There's not any zeros in my deck right now. Just play something I can Lightning Bolt, please. Okay, deal. We've seen Hydroblast in their deck, but still going to cast my spell. Got me good. Mystic Sanctuary, okay. Volcanic Island. Tropical Island. Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. Trigger. Put in Mystic Sanctuary, put Lightning Bolt on top of my deck. It's a lot of Lightning Bolts. Let's hope you don't Chalice me, because I have double Bolt against this Wall of Merfolk, which is normally how you beat this deck, but Chalice of the Void, fucked up magic card. Thought Lash, alright. We're going deep here. I'm going to Expressive Iteration, because I would like to find a Pyroblast for that Thought Lash. Channeler land. Channeler in hand. Get rid of Uro, exile the land. Play the land, and I guess I just play Channeler. It can beat the Merfolk right now. Hold up Pyroblast. Port of Atlantis exiled. Like, now they have to pay for this thing for the rest of the game? Okay, yeah. I needed Pyroblast last turn. Or I'm getting a turn? I did not expect this to happen. I'm actually getting Taiga here, because that casts Uro and Lightning Bolt. And I want to Lightning Bolt this fish. I'm just trying to find Pyroblast desperately right now. Got there. Okay. Pyroblast is secured. I'm going to attack for my damage or not damage, depending on what their hand looks like. They clearly don't have Oracle or Mikhail. Maybe they might have Mikhail. Maybe they wouldn't go for it unprotected. Or I had Lightning Bolt, so they can't go for Mikhail. All right. Figuring this out one step at a time. Exiled a bunch of cards to prevent that damage. I'm going to play Uro. Green, blue, blue, green. Here's Uro. Triggered. They're holding up Hardcast Force of Will right now, which is not really a thing I want to deal with. I think I'm going to Pyroblast in the upkeep after they pay the cumulative upkeep. Now I'm going to Pyroblast. Ponder. I'll keep that. Just see more cards. That's the name of the game here. See more cards. Silvergrill Adept, revealing Harbinger of Tides. Alright, Harbinger can bounce tapped creature, that's how this works, and it costs 4 if you flash it in. Okay, so it can mess up Uro pretty good next turn. That's all right. He will have done his damage by then. Here's the Ponder I knew about. Let's see some more red cards. Brazen Borrower. Not a red card, but not bad. I'll leave it on top. Plays like a red card. Oh, that's a red card. Brazen Borrower. Land EI. Don't shuffle. And then blue, red. Progressive iteration. I'm going to bin the land. And then see some more cards. One of them's Brazen Borrower. Borrower to my hand. DRC. Bottom, DRC Exile. And I can Lightning Bolt Lord of Atlantis. Where this goes. Lightning Bolt Lord. Fire Blast on top. Yes, please. All right. Glad I did it in this order, because now I know that I don't get this other Dragon's Rage Channeler. Just going to attack with Uro and draw Pyroblast. And I will offer the trade with Silvergrill Adept. Just remove material from the board is fine with me. And they took the deal. Harbinger of Tides can bounce Uro next turn, but he'll be back. And I'm protected from Thought Lash and Paradigm Shift. Not playing the Channeler, they should be reading loud and clear that I have Pyroblast. And I think they're trying to bait me here by casting this Merfolk without using the Cavern. I'm not going to fall for it. Uro can come back around. Not a problem. Rename. Okay, sure. All right, maybe it wasn't bait. Maybe they just had a better spell. But Uro still outmuscles all of this. Blue, green, other color. Uro gets me this land. And I can Brainstorm now, or I could just hold up a bunch of interaction. I like Brainstorm. Ooh. Didn't go where I wanted it to. 2 Brazen Borrowers are not where I want to be. And I'm not going to cast Ledger Shredder this turn either. All right, I'll hold up Force Blue card and Pyroblast, at least make sure I don't get combo killed. And then I'll start stabilizing with Uro next turn. Merfolk of the, or Master of the Pearl Trident, okay. I am going to absorb this damage, or knock this damage off the board, because we are in a race here. And I still have the Force for the other thing. Top card of my deck is Ledger Shredder. Do I even care about that? I could get the other Mystic Sanctuary, pick up Pyroblast. Sounds pretty good. I'll do it on my upkeep. Mystic Sanctuary, target Pyroblast. Draw for turn, and then Uro with protection. Maintaining Delirium. Get this Uro in. Still have a land drop to make. I'm going to Ponder. Cool. Land drop and the next Pyroblast. All right, let's slog through this True Name Nemesis. Opponent has 1 card in hand. I have 2 answers in hand and 1 on top of my deck. And a second True Name would actually be pretty annoying. This Harbinger of Tides also pretty annoying. Whatever. If you bounce Uro, then I still have Uro. Didn't go anywhere. There is an Uro on top of my deck too, which I don't want to draw right now. Okay, I have enough red. I'm going to get another green. Force of Will, cool. All right, so True Name and Uro can bounce off each other for a little while here until I find another way to attack. Brazen Borrower's in my hand. That does function. And here's a bunch of creatures. Put back EI and Brazen Borrower. I can go Murktide, Ledger Shredder, hold up double Red Blast. All right, yeah. Brazen Borrower and EI on top. Ledger Shredder. Murktide. Big as possible. And 2 Pyroblast backing all this up and a Force of Will. Let's go. Second True Name. All right. That was the thing I was worried about, but glad I loaded up on other ways to win the game. Uro can still attack. I still draw a card and gain 3 life. Just goes to the graveyard, where then I have to do it again. I'm going to start with an EI. Get the Shredder shredding. Okay. Brazen Borrower in hand. Forest. Misty Rainforest on the bottom. Exile Lightning Bolt. I'm going to Lightning Bolt my opponent. I don't think I care about Harbinger of Tides. And we remain undefeated. They got me game 1 with some crazy jukes, different stuff going on that I wasn't really ready for, but this game, after the sideboard, when we just remove Chalice, and then they're not going to be able to beat our Wall of Pyroblast. Just feeling good. On to the next one. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. On the draw in round number 3, I'm going to keep this. Force Will's got the shields up. I got Bauble and Ponder to see a bunch of cards. First appearance of Maddening Hex. Let's hope this is a good matchup for it. Volcanic Island Ponder usually means Maddening Hex is going to be good. I dare say. Did not shuffle the Ponder. All right, let me get a little information about their deck. Let's have a peek. Sneak Attack. Okay. Good to know. This is not the Delver Mirror. I'm going to shuffle this because I need lands. Brazen Borrower, tough. I have a Bauble draw and a draw step coming. At least we know we're not getting wastelanded now. There's a land. Right, how hard are you coming in here? Just a Ponder. Deal. Sneak and Show is on the menu. Did not shuffle the Ponder. Tropical Island, get in there. And I'm just going to pass. I'm going to Lightning Bolt in the end step. Having spells in my graveyard is good for multiple things in my deck. Reducing their life total could be relevant as well. Okay, I got some options here. I can... I should have talked through EI before I played my land, but I can hold up Force of Will and play around Daze and stuff. I could jam Maddening Hex and just see if they die. Or I could hold up Brazen Borrower and Force. I'm going to try to Hex them. Because if they spend a counter on this, it's a counter that's not protecting their Sneak Attack. If this is in play, they cast Sneak Attack, take damage. I Force, they fight back, take damage. If they Lotus Petal to get an extra mana, take damage. Like, I think just having this thing in play is going to be great. Intuition in response. I'm going to let that resolve. They're going to get like 3 Forces here or 3 Ancient Tombs. Punch through the Sneak Attack. 3 Forces. All right. Sure. All right. So they need to accelerate mana. Lotus Petal's one of the ways they do that. And the Sneak Attack's going to get in if they have the land. Lotus Petal. Take 6. Took 1. All right, let's balance this out. Sneak Attack. Take 3. Force of Will, pitching Murktide Regent. Then you force back, you take another chunk of damage. Took 2 on that one. All right, do you have another piece of mana here, or is my Brazen Borrower gonna clean this up? Oh yeah. Oh, and I found Force Negation. Bounce the Sneak Attack. And now they have to replay this thing. I have Lightning Bolt and Force in hand. Maddening Hex. This is how you do it. Oh, now they got to brainstorm to figure this out. Took 3 from that. Yeah, this is disgusting. I don't approve of this activity, but I'm also having a great time with it. Bolt you. No more spells. Yeah. That was gross. Having a good time here. All right, the Force Negations and all the Pyroblasts are coming in. Null Rod and Tormod's Crypt don't play here. They are a deck with islands, but I don't think that necessarily means I want Carpet. Dress Down can buy me time, but this isn't a deck that can remove Emrakul anyway. What I mean by that is like black decks with like Snuff Out or white decks with Swords to Plowshares. If your opponent has Show and Tell, you put in Dress Down, they put in Emrakul or Grizzlebrand, you can just kill it. But Lightning Bolt doesn't kill those things anyway. Brazen Borrower could like put it back in hand, but I'd rather just not have those things on the stack at all. F.I.R.E is probably on the medium side for the matchup. I'm going to take out the Carpet. They could Blood Moon me though. That shit's annoying. All right, I'm going to respect Blood Moon a little bit with Carpet of Flowers. What else can I do here? I like the small creatures nickel and diming more than the big creatures going crazy. Yeah, I think just F.I.R.E and Murktide are kind of all the kinds of things that you want to chop out here. Because I can play the game on mountains if they do resolve a Blood Moon, like Dragon's Rage Channeler, Lightning Bolt, Pyroblast, Maddening Hex are all cards that I still have, and Forces. All right, yeah, I'm not going any deeper on Carpets. I'll leave 1 in as soft respect to Blood Moon. Just a Force, but it's enough. I'm going to keep it. This deck sees a lot of cards. I will trust my deck to deliver I have lands and some protection spells. Let's start there. Ledger Shredder, delivered already. Aggressive Iteration. I think I want to put Ledger Shredder on the stack. If they show and tell next turn, I can, yeah, that's fine. If Ledger Shredder resolves, they show and tell, I force pitching EI, they force back, I gotta connive to find a blue card for my other force. Kind of like that position. And sniffing out a red blast. Not mad about it. Opponent's missing land drops over there. Oh, yeah. Can't pyroblast this one. Hex up. It's just in there. All right. Let's have another counter war. I hope you don't need a cantrip to find that third land drop, because it's going to be bad for you. Defense grid. Take your damage first. Take 5. I can force next turn anyway. It resolves. I'm going to Lightning Bolt my opponent and then play Mystic Sanctuary, putting Lightning Bolt on top of my deck and just burn them out. I can force pitching a blue card and pay the 3 here. Uh-oh, found a land. Is it show and tell time? Fetching straight into my burn plan. Show and tell. Take 5. You have 5 life left. Force pitching EI. Okay, Lightning Bolt on top of my deck. If you cast any spell, you take 3 on average and you're at 2. Okay, go. Lotus Petal. At 1! Oh no! Survived at 1. Please don't have a creature in your deck. Alright. Pyroblasting my land to go out in style. Taking the full 6 on the final trigger. Yeah, Maddening Hex. What's up? That's a magic card that exists. And now you can play it. Oh, it's very funny to me that Maddening Hex goes to my graveyard because my opponent died and it's an aura. Thanks, Magic Online. Keep that game state clean. On to the next round. Let's keep it rolling. For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out. I'm on the play in round 4 with kind of a weird one. I'm going to keep it. But no cantrips, no red mana. And Bobble kind of a cantrip. No selection cantrips, just peeking. We've got a red Elemental Blast out of my opponent in the main deck. It's probably Painter then. Like most main deck red blasts are actually Pyroblast. Painter would go all the way into the second one. God damn it, I'm good. All right. Sucks that these lightning bolts are chilling. But I know that there is a red blast in the hand. Brainstorm now while I still can. All right, found the red mana. We're cooking, we're cooking. Put back Brazen Borrower and Maddening Hex. Is that how I want to do this? Or Lightning Bolt Maddening Hex? Oh, but then if I miss on the red, yeah, it might just be Hex Borrower or Borrower Hex. Okay, Borrower and Hex go back. I would stack the land, but I have seen the EI or the red blast. I don't fully expect EI to resolve. And I got to get through this red blast, so I'm going to blast now, or bolt now. They blast, I untap, bolt again. Unless they want to like take out one of my lands on the way through. All right, fair enough. That was the wrong land, but I'm grateful for it. And I'll pass the turn here. I must have a second Painter. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. That can resolve. I'm going to bounce the Goblin in the end step. That's not an object I want in play. Now I have EI. Right, iteration. Bring it together for me. Okay, cool. Lightning Bolt in hand. Force negation on the bottom. Exile Misty Rainforest. Play the Misty. Got rid of the Force because I can't cast it. And their combo condition involves having a 1/3 creature in play. So, Lightning Bolt plays here. Goblin Welder. That will not be in play on my turn. Volcanic Island, Lightning Bolt. Get it out. As much as I'd love to slam Maddening Hex here, they don't. I mean, Lightning Bolt, Red Blast, I guess they have quite a few. I think I'm going to Mystic Sanctuary back my Expressive iteration. Then just pass the turn holding up Brazen Borrower and Lightning Bolt. I can think about Hex later. But 6 mana is the magic number to win on the spot with Painter, and I don't want to give them that. Brazen Borrower, get in. Begin the beatdowns. Also Lightning Bolt. And attack with Brazen Borrower. They did nothing with 6 mana last turn. Expressive iteration. Fair enough. I considered playing Maddening Hex just as a juke around Pyroblast, that then they would have to spend life to Pyroblast the EI later. But I also just wanted to advance my board. But please don't win right now. Engineer. That's tough. If they have A or B, this gets the other one. Is your last card in hand, Painter Servant? That is another Lightning Bolt. I'm into it. I'm going to Hex my opponent. I should have attacked first. If their last card is Pyroblast, now they're not going to take 3. God damn it. Wasted that opportunity. Okay, go. Please don't kill me. They don't have any lands in play with which to... Or they do have an artifact in play. I was going to say they don't have any artifacts, but they actually do. I could go for EI here. I think I have to get Bolt, though. Mystic Sanctuary, get the Lightning Bolt. Feels bad, but Goblin Welder is really good. All right, are we spinning up into Painter? We are, okay. So spinning up into Painter means that Red Blast can counter my spell. I'm just going to zap this thing, though. Put the Painter in the graveyard. Another Red Blast. Take your damage. Took 4. They got to come up with a Grindstone. You can grind Grindstone into Painter. You can't grind Painter into Grindstone. So this is a multi-turn line that actually does kill me if I don't answer it. If they flip Painter into Grindstone now, then untap and flip Grindstone into Painter. That works. Come on, removal spell. Oh no. Yeah, I'm dead here. That was a lot of Red Blasts. Maybe I should have just been patient about it. Like, obviously they went with Painter instead of Grindstone, even though that slows down their combo. See if they'll respect Lightning Bolt here. Oh, Painter from hand. Don't even need to respect Lightning Bolt. Okay, you got me. Bummer. I missed 3 damage on that one. Like, I should have attacked before casting Maddening Hex. They did win the game at 5, but it would have been 2, which is an Ancient Tomb activation. Tricky, challenging magic. All right, Null Rod's coming in. They don't have to name blue on Painter, but Pyroblast is good if they do, and Textless if they don't. Dress down. If you dress down in response to Painter, it doesn't get to name a color. But if you dress down once Painter's already in play, it's already named a color and it doesn't matter. So there's kind of a weird tension there. I think I would rather play this game to the board. I'm not even sure if Maddening Hex is good, but I think it's better than Carpet, Bauble, and Force Negation. Oh, they do use their graveyard a lot. Awkward with Nullrod versus Crypt, but they're not winning with Nullrod in play anyway. I'm actually getting off Pyroblast and Maddening Hex. Okay. Here are my creatures. Most of them are blue. Good luck me. On the play, this is a lot of Mystic Sanctuary, but I'm in for this. Leading on DRC and then having Ponder and Bolt around. These are all good starts. Darcy? Goblin Welder. All right. I'm going to Bolt that in my upkeep and get the card selection before I have to draw. I would love to also cast Ponder this turn. All right, we got there. The Tropical Island and cast Ponder. Ponder in the graveyard. Lightning Bolt and 2 lands. All right, that's perfect. Okay, cool. Now I can Lightning Bolt and Dress Down next turn if I need to do both, and then my Mystic Sanctuaries are on the turn after that, and I get a shuffle in between so I don't have to draw that second land. See if all that works out how I want it to. Here's this jerk. I'm gonna fetch, shuffle away the land. I want Volcanic Island because I want the red, but I also want my Mystic Sanctuaries to be on. Surveil land into the graveyard, got plenty of those. And get in there. And they can Red Blast Dress Down, always annoying. But Red Blast is always going to be good against me. Discarded Opal and Spirit Guide. Yeah, probably didn't need those. I'm going to Dress Down in response. This will at least get me Delirium, if nothing else. Oh, it resolved. Wow. And a sad little no-color ass painter. They follow this up with Blood Moon. Oh, yeah, they are. Okay. So I am in some trouble here. Lightning Bolt looking on sadly from my graveyard. Maddening Hex looking on excitedly from my hand. Alright. Tormod's Crypt. I don't think. I just want Lightning Bolt now. Let's get in there. Let's do some damage. Yeah, my plan for this turn was to Mystic Sanctuary, Lightning Bolt, and then Brainstorm into it, but obviously didn't happen. Lightning Bolt, get hexed. Took 5. Unfortunately, they don't need to cast more spells, but they are. Take 6, take 6. Oh no. You're gonna stabilize at 1. Don't do this to me. Come on, red cards. Ugh. Now they're just not gonna cast a spell again. No, they foolishly cast 2 of them. One of them that doesn't even do anything. Engineer. I'm not gonna force that, it just doesn't matter. They don't need to cast any more spells this game. I need to find Lightning Bolt to clear Magus of the Moon. And then unlock my spells. That's how we do this. Come on, Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt? Or just Lightning Bolt their face. What am I saying? Alright. So this doesn't look good. If they have... Or they can make a copy of... What? They could copy Painter in the end step, untap and kill me. But this is cool too. Let's just put a bunch of cards in the graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. One-shot snipers in the graveyard. Alright, deck. We need a Lightning Bolt here. Or we need the opponent to cast a spell. Just attack with your creatures. What is happening? Why is this a challenge right now? Okay. I'm at 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They could put lethal on the board. Come on, Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt. That was not the one. If they copy Magus in the end step, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They could just attack me for 8. I don't need to get another turn here. They could have milled me out last turn. All of this could have happened. Alright, we're just welding for Painter instead. Okay. Just turned on all my red blasts. Deal. Doesn't matter. Still dead. Cast a spell. Cast a spell. Fine. Alright. Yeah, clutch Magus of the Moon. My Mystic Sanctuaries were going to start recurring Lightning Bolts, and they stabilized at 1. Tough beats there, but that's why you put those cards in your deck. GG's. On to the next round. On the draw in the final round. I'm going to keep 1-landers all day. Let's go. Painter again? Doing a lot of this lately. I mean, Red Blast is going to get me eventually. Time to cast Ponder. Cool. I will pop another Lightning Bolt in my hand and keep those EIs on top for later. Unless this is actually just burn. If I get bolted in the end step, we'll know soon. Okay, it's Red Stompy. Got it. This is not a card I'm prepared to beat. Let's force it. This is a great matchup to have 2 forces and 2 bolts in your hand, though. Alright, hopefully they just play like Rabble Master or something that dies easy. Yup. These fragile little shitters. Run them into my Lightning Bolts, please. I'm drawing another EI here. I'm actually okay with that. It's a blue card for force in an emergency. Tropical Island, Expressive Iteration. Let's find a red source here. Let me hold up Lightning Bolt. Cool, 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 cool. I'd rather Regent this matchup than Hex it. So, Murktide in hand. Another red source up. I have Bolt for the next Rebel Master, Force to protect my Murktide, and then we're just cramming. Fable. Fable's fine. Still gonna bolt the Dingus, though. Alright, do I need to bolt the Dingus? I don't think that I do, because Murktide can block the Dingus. Yeah, I'm just gonna go to my turn. Cool. Tropical Island means that I can bounce the Dingus. Or whatever I need to. Save my Lightning Bolt for the Kiki Jiki payoff at the other end. It's 7/7 creature. Let's go. Backed up by Force of Will and Lightning Bolt and Brazen Borrower. God, this deck is full of good cards. Wow. Did not discard any cards to Fable. Just all 6 cards in hand are already perfect. Don't like that. Chrome Mox. Yep. Simian Spirit Guide in response to Chromox's trigger. Yeah, he probably meant to exile Simian Spirit Guide forever. Okay. This is the most lofty goal a Simian Spirit Guide could have in all its Spirit Guide training. Oh, am I getting Chandra here? This 6 mana thing? Chandra does not beat Murktide, though. Oh, F.I.R.E. Do I care? No. Yeah, resolves. And put 4 damage on my 7/7. Are you pitching a second F.I.R.E? Is that where the rest of this turn is going? Is. That's fun. Alright, I have to force this one. Would I rather have Expressive Iteration in my hand or Brazen Borrower? Expressive Iteration. Alright. Force. Pitching Brazen Borrower. Exiled Rabble Master to do that. End step, I'm going to Lightning Bolt F.I.R.E. 7, 14, 17. Yeah, this doesn't change the clock if I save Bolt. Expressive Iteration for life. Force of Will in my hand. Scalding Tarn on the bottom, exile Brainstorm. Cast Brainstorm. Channeler and Uro. I'm going to put Uro and Scalding Tarn on top of my deck. Play the Channeler. Is Channeler actually good? I can have land creature in my graveyard next turn. Oh, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put Scalding Tarn back with Uro above it. Yeah, that's better. Now if I force, I can mill Uro straight into the graveyard. And then the fetch land gives me Delirium either way. I'm going to let the Goblin make a treasure. That's fine. We're at the kill your opponent dead part of the game. I have 1 card in hand. I have 1 counterspell in mine. Yep, this happens. And Uro into fetch land into... Yeah, they're actually just dead on board. Uro is a creature that goes in the graveyard. The fetch land comes into play. I fetch, which gives me Delirium. That's 10 damage. I fetch Mystic Sanctuary, putting a redundant card type, one of the instants, on top of my deck, which grows Murktide to 8, and that's exactly 11. GG. Okay, this is actually a kind of scary matchup. Force Negation's coming in big. Is this a Minsc and Boo matchup? It might be. We haven't seen one yet. Carpet and Pyroblast are bad. Bobble is rough when you're against a Trinisphere deck. Maddening Hex, probably not where I want to be either. Maybe I do bring my Bobble back. Or no, I turn Bobble into Pyroclasm. They're also a Goblin tribal deck. Nullrod can hit like Chrome Mox, but I don't think that's the axis I'm going to win the game on. Yeah, the all 8 forces part of this deck coming in big right now. Because we saw last round, Blood Moon is actually a problem. Double force, double blue card. Let's be alive. And Lightning Bolt for a creature. So I have the first Rabble Master covered and the first 2 stacks pieces covered. And then I got to figure out how to win the game from there. Leyline of the Void. Okay. Uro and Murktide just became pitch spells for Force of Will. My opponent mulled to 6 to make this happen. And pitched a Spirit Guide. Alright, well. You just made this Murktide bad, so I'll lean in. Okay, so they mulled to 6. Leyline makes it 5. Pitch Spirit Guide makes it 4. Cast a spell. Pretty powerful starting energy. I'm going to play the Scalding Tarn because I'm not going to EI on turn 2 anyway. So Mystic Sanctuary coming into play tap next turn and leaving Bolt up to defend myself doesn't affect my curve at all. And I just came up with another blue card here. Uh-oh, another Chalice. Annoying. Well, that card is still a problem, so I'm still going to counter it. All right. I can commit I'm just going to play Mystic Sanctuary. I don't have a graveyard, and this is just a tapped island for now. If their last 2 cards are Mana Source Blood Moon, I'm going to freak out. To become the Joker. Okay, they don't have the Blood Moon. The next Mana Source starts activating Den of the Bugbear. This is a card I need to respect a little bit. I mean, I have Lightning Bolt, I guess. Brazen Borrower in hand, Murktide on the bottom, exile Taiga. Brazen Borrower gives me generic answers to generic problems, including even the Leyline. I could clear that, then start graveyarding up. Here comes the bug. Den of the Bugbear is just a Rabble Master, and Lightning Bolt is good against those. Cool. Boxes checked, left and right. I could bounce the ley line now. I don't think I need to, though. I'm just going to EI again. Lightning Bolt in my hand, land on the bottom, exile land. Okay, I think if they don't do anything else this turn, I'm going to take this opportunity to clear the ley line and then start doing what my deck actually does. Okay, that resolves. Maybe I'm supposed to bounce the Goblin and then start attacking with Brazen Borrower. Yeah, I think the way this is shaking out, Brazen Borrower is my win con. Like, I don't need my graveyard, it's just nice. That card likes my graveyard a lot. Dragon's Rage Channeler. Ponder. Channeler, get out of here. Ponder. Shuffle that forever. Yikes. On another Ponder, but I'm going to hold up the Brazen Borrower this turn. They can discard, do the looting thing here. I'm actually falling up pretty far behind thanks to the ley line, so this card is paying off long term. Maybe I should have bounced it and bolted the Goblin token. Uh-oh, is this Big Chandra? Oh, it's Fury. All right. Every time I think they're going to cast Big Chandra, it's actually just Fury. Yeah, they pitched a Spirit Guide for the second red source, dealing 4 damage to DRC, which was just a lowly 1/1. Now I'm going to play my 3/1 and begin the beats. Volcanic Island, Brazen Borrower. Opponent's tapped Ancient Tomb a couple times here, so we got some damage coming in. Mystic Sanctuary, killing me, Smalls. F.I.R.E, also killing me. Alright. Leyline, doing a great job over there. Shuffle my deck. Play Misty Rainforest, and attack. I think I should just Lightning Bolt here. Like, I don't want to take 6. Use the bolt, clear the thing. Let's do it. I'm not going to crack this Misty Rainforest. Brainstorms are in my deck. I have a bad card in my hand. That's what it's for. Iki Jiki's here. Oh no. What was your draw? Blood Moon? Alright, I guess we're just fucking slamming now. Ledger Shredder, right on time. Race is on. Top of the deck versus the top of mine. You have more spells you can cast than I do, but I'm currently winning the race. Alright, alright. Lightning Bolt. Shit. Brazen B, let's go. Don't draw any cards. Don't draw any spells. Uh-oh, there's a pause here in the second main. Like, lock pieces are fine now. Trinisphere, Chalice of the Void, none of that matters. Brazen Borrower, so close to being a good card. Opponent is 2 attacks away from death. They get 2 more draw steps this game. One of them just happened. Come on, Force of Will or Lightning Bolt. Force of Will, Lightning Bolt. Uh-oh. Alright. We're all in here. One of us loses the game this turn. Oh, I guess I could still draw Lightning Bolt for a long time, even if they answer my Brazen Borrower. I still got live outs. Don't care about stacks pieces. Rabble Master. Is this lethal? It's a lot. Because they get to copy it, make double. But the main Rabble Master doesn't have haste, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I'm at 3. Okay. Yikes. Yeah, if the main Rabble Master, the original one, had haste, this would be lethal. But it is not. They all have to attack. I'm at 3. If you've got red card Fury in hand, you did it. If not, I did it. And did it? I did. 4-1 with rug stupid cards. And yeah, this deck, I get the appeal. It's very strong. Maddening Hex is completely messed up. Uro's messed up. Murktide's messed up. All these cards are just messed up. Our trophy snatched by a timely Magus of the Moon. But that is a potent card against us. That last game was a fly by the seat of the pants situation with Brazen Borrower just getting in for, what, 12, 15, with my opponent not able to answer it. Minsc and Boo never came up this league, unfortunately. Only came in once and didn't arrive in that game. But Maddening Hex came up multiple times and was as messed up as imaginable. I don't really know what to say about this deck. It's just full of great cards. The Carpet, I'm a little suspicious about in live play. I guess it depends on the size of your event. And like my local metagame, I would not main deck a Carpet. I know that just because that's what the people in my locals tend to play. There's a lot more Death and Taxes, 8-cast kind of junk. So I would make this a flex slot. I think a main deck Pyroblast is safe and appropriate in the metagame at large. Again, if your local meta is just mono non-blue, then it. But finding room for like 2 wastelands and 2 dazes, I'm not sure where they would go. I'm not sure what level of deck building we're supposed to be on after just 5 matches. I don't feel super qualified to say like Force Negation is worse, or like the second Mystic Sanctuary could be a wasteland, or I don't know. All these cards were great, and there is some room to season to taste here. The busted cards, the Hex, the Uro, the Murktide, the DRC, Under Brainstorm, EI, Force of Will, I would say that those are like the locked pieces, and then the number of Brazen Borrowers, Force Negations, Mishra's Bauble, Carpet, Pyroblast. You could fluctuate the number of Shredders probably and be okay with it. Fluctuate the number of Uros. You could probably play 2 with how much shredding this deck does. You'll find one eventually. Not that I think those changes should be made, just if you're looking for room to season this deck for your local metagame, those are the sort of cards that could be moved around without just collapsing the core. Crazy shit. Maddening Hex is awesome. Busto, crazy in the matchups where it's good, and you just board it out in the matchups where it's bad. I'm impressed by this deck. Not surprised at all. Like, I've been impressed when I see it play in paper and see all Max's tweets about it and stuff. So power to Max for figuring out another insane archetype that exists in Legacy. Ewan, thank you for asking me to play this deck, giving the opportunity to showcase the new cards on the channel. I'm sure this video will be popular. I appreciate it. Everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the links to the Patreon and all the other stuff that supports the channel in the video description, and I will see you next time.